Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. Kazuto Takesako, he defeated the previously undefeated Mark Dickinson in one of the quarterfinals of the Prizefighter tournament that's taking place over in Japan. Takesako came in pretty much the veteran. He'd only had 19 fights, 16 wins, but in those 16 wins, he'd had 15 knockouts. So even at 33, he was a threat, and he was certainly the favourite to beat Mark Dickinson, who came in undefeated with 6 fights, only 2 KOs, no draws. And to be honest with you, Takesako, even though he was the favourite, he had lost 2 of his previous 3 fights, one by stoppage. That includes his last fight, which was only in May of this year. So, you know, it was a case of, are we going to see youth prevailing, or is the experience of the veteran, the 33-year-old, going to be too much? In actual fact, what we got was a fight where the youthful guy, who was 25-year-old Dickinson, actually gave the older fella, Takesako, hell for leather for 10, pulsating rounds. I mean, the first round, they just locked horns and just railed on each other. Big hooks, body and head, neither giving an inch. Virtually, if they pressed their foreheads to each other, it couldn't have been more of a case of 2 rams just, butting horns, locking horns, whatever you want to say, butting heads. This was a terrific fight, 10 rounds of sustained action. In the first round, like I say, in the first round, it was crash, bang, wallop. In the second round, Takesako he sort of found what I thought was the key to the door almost. Again, as we always say, the most underrated tactic is the body attack. Why more fighters don't use it consistently throughout fights, I do not know. The art of body punching, I wouldn't say it's dead, but it's certainly often overlooked. And in the second round, Takesako definitely got Mark Dickinson's attention with those body whacks. And at the end of the round, Dickinson was looking a bit perturbed. He was looking like he'd had quite a bit of energy sapped out of him. Now, he of course, is the younger man, 25 years old to Takesaku's 33. But you did think, with only 6 fights on his resume, is he going to be able to do that 10-round distance at that pace? Consistently. In fact, neither did, because as the fight progressed, they kind of both slowed down. They were both knackered by the end of the 7th round, but neither really taken a backward step. Not really. Occasionally you'd get the odd 5-second, 8-9-second period where one guy would maybe move away just to sort of reset or regroup. But for the most part, it was come forward stuff. And by the halfway point, I thought Dickinson, despite that second round where he did have a lot of energy sapped out of him, I thought he looked like he was in the ascendancy. In actual fact, Takesako, from probably about around 6, 7, 8, came on quite strong. And I wouldn't say he sort of outmanned the younger fella. It was more of a case of, maybe the experience played a part. But don't forget, like I said earlier, Takesako, he's now got 17 wins. Like I said, 15 of them are by KO. And he hasn't been, I think he went 12 once back in 2020, and he's had a couple of 10-rounders maybe, but I think the draw was over 10 rounds. But most of his fights, if you look throughout his resume, they have ended early. So, but having said that, Dickinson, the most he'd gone is an 8-rounder. So I suppose it stands to reason that especially when you consider the pace, by the end of say the 7th round, they were both looking absolutely shagged, to be honest with you. It was like touch and go. The 3 judges had it, I thought, I mean, I don't object to Takesako being given the decision, but one of them had it 98-92. That's too wide for me. One had it 97-93, which is kind of pushing it a bit. 96-94 was the third card, which I thought was okay, but I think you could call this a draw. You could probably even say Dickinson won it by a point or two. It was one of those fights, but of course, this is in Japan, and Kazuto Takesako, being a Japanese fighter, did he get the rub of the green? I don't think so, not really, because if you look at Japanese decisions, there haven't been any really bad ones that I can remember, not that many. So I don't object to Takesako winning the fight. But one of the cards, 98-92, no, that's too wide. That's way too wide. 97-93, like I say, it's pushing it a bit, but maybe if you gave him everything 50-50. But Mark Dickinson did look irate at the end of it. I mean, he walked out of the ring, he looked quite indignant. I can sort of understand why. Maybe it was the cards that pissed him off a bit, but if that was only his seventh fight, he's got plenty to offer. I mean, by the way, these are middleweights. I should point that out. You don't get many middleweight Japanese fighters, do you? But trust me, I mean, Mark Dickinson showed plenty in there against a pretty accomplished, albeit veteran, Japanese fighter. The experience of travelling to Japan will have done him good, fighting a guy in his backyard. But it is Takesako who moves on to the semi-final. Also worth mentioning that Takesako, I think, is about 5'9", 5'10", and Dickinson's 6'2". Now, you wouldn't notice in the ring because they, like I say, they were just up close and personal for virtually the whole 30 minutes of fighting. But yeah, the winner was Takesako, so he moves on, and Dickinson has to regroup. But no shame in it, no shame at all. He gave his all. He gave his all, and for a young, inexperienced fighter, he did pretty well. So these quarterfinals. They were all on one card over in Japan, and they were shown on DAZN in the early hours of Monday morning. Not the early hours, but it was about 9 o'clock Monday morning actually. I think the card started about 9 a.m. So go and have a look on DAZN if you're interested. But this was a very good fight. This is worth your time watching this fight. 30 minutes of good quality action. Let me know what you think, and please subscribe to the channel if you're new. Hit the like button, do all that good stuff, and spread the word about Joe Stunner Boxing. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. I'll get you later, and bye for now.